Not ideal, I guess, for anyone really, but especially not ideal that you kind of went down and got stuck down there for a few minutes.
It is a little bit of a nuisance, but the weekend is young, and no doubt we'll find some track time at some point before the paying sessions later in the weekend.
Well, I hope so. And you must have come here with so much excitement after such a positive weekend in Spain. Change of direction for the car. You must be really excited to find out whether it works at other circuits as well.
Well, we come to every race with lots of excitement. It's an exciting way to make a living, but this track is very much a different set of challenges. So, if we can wiggle our way through this weekend with okay performance, then that will be a good feeling. I tend to think that that most of what we did was a sort of medium and high speed gains, and there's not a lot of medium and high speed here. So I think we'll perhaps not be as strong here as we were in Barcelona, and it's still for us to make a sort of matching set of gains in the low speed stuff a little bit later in the year.
Now, it's been a fair few weeks now since you've been back in this role day to day. Are you enjoying it, and have you started to put in place the things that you want to, as you want to try and reshape things again?
I'm certainly enjoying it. I think it might be a bit grandiose to say I'm putting them in place, the things. I'm just tucked in with my colleagues, plotting and scheming what we're bringing for the tracks this year, and also similarly what we're trying to do for next year. And we just had the main press conference, and was trying to express what an actual thrill that is when you've got a little bit of a picture forming internally in the team with all your fellow engineers of how that journey's going to look, and yeah, it's just it's a bit like waiting for Christmas. You can't wait for it to arrive, and it's very exciting.
Great stuff, James. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Otmar, great to see you. The last 3 races, it's been quite the turnaround for you guys. What do you think's been behind that?
Well, we've, the plan all along was to continuously improve the car like we did last year, and we're still doing that. And the underlying pace of the car was always there. Pierre's getting used to the team a little bit more, did well in qualifying. Last race, got blocked on the start and ended up 14th after lap 1 or even 15th. So not great, but with the underlying pace of the car being there, even if that happens to you, you can come back up into the point. So that's what it's really all about, and we continue to work hard on making the car quicker.
It looks like operationally you've ironed things out. What did you do going back to the factory to actually try and change things? Were there big adjustments?
So the processes are all there. It's just about finding the root cause of a problem and putting the solution in place. And our fault system has always been there. That's exactly what we try to do. There are thousands and thousands of processes within a Formula One team, and when something goes wrong, like I said, you have to understand the root cause and fix it such that it never happens again. And we continue to do that.
Now, we see it here in the Ferrari drivers yesterday talking about Alpine being in the fight with the top teams, Mercedes, Aston Martin. Is that where you see that you guys are going, if you can operate the car in the right window?
Well, it's about, like I said, the underlying potential of the car, and it's great that they see us in that light. But you can't stand still in our game. It's relative. I hear that there's some upgrades. Big upgrades that were brought here, so let's see where we stand. But again, continue to upgrade the car, make sure that the upgrades are actually working, which is a big thing, that they correlate with our simulation tools. And if we can continue to do that, then we will fight amongst the top teams.
And just finally, what's the latest on Pierre's problem that he had in FP1, and how important is the extra half an hour to try and get everything done?
Well, we haven't lost anything. It was a electronics problem in the steering wheel. We always run the spare steering wheel for a lap to make sure it's okay, and we ran the spare and it wasn't okay, so that's why we do it. And luckily we didn't lose anything. So we put the not spare steering wheel on, and everything was fine.
James, when I got to see the upgrade list for you guys here, it was extensive. Like, how significant is the new bits that you brought to this track in Canada for Alex's car?
You summarised it. It's a large upgrade. Even if you look up and down the grid, people wouldn't normally bring this amount to a car. So it's fairly normal to bring a floor or maybe a front wing, but to bring basically near enough every contact surface that has air flowing through it. So the front wing hasn't changed, but the halo has, the upper bodywork has, the side pods have, the rear wing end plates have, the rear suspension has as well. Large amounts of work on the rear suspension. That's not normal, but it's just to give you an idea of at least the significance of the update.
When you're looking at the data on the wind tunnel and CFD, how much of a gain do you think that this upgrade should bring you if it delivers what you expect it to do?
It's an interesting question because often the theoretical doesn't tie up with reality. Also, Canada isn't a track like all others. It actually has very specific properties that will suit this track but not to others. But any update you see now of this magnitude, you're looking at a few tenths. If you're not getting a few tenths out of it, then the package isn't quite delivering what it needs to be.
And is the hope that if this all goes well and production's okay, Logan will get it next time out in Austria?
Timelines for that will be Silverstone by the latest. It just really depends on how we get on this weekend. It's subject to the amount of spares that we have in the background.
Okay. Great news that we've got an extra half an hour in FP2 to test those upgrades after what happened in FP1. Can you still cram everything into that programme?
You can, but I don't think it's as good as obviously if we had 60 minutes here. So if you go through what happens, normally with an update package, you're looking through all of your data, all of your sensors to understand what have you added to the car, what's the balance characteristics, how to rebalance it, and be doing tests. But you get, in between these two sessions, 2.5 hours to look at really huge amounts of data. And again, for Logan, he would have got 60 minutes to learn the track and then a couple of hours to look through other people's onboards, Alex's onboard, and understand how to find performance. So it is very useful and it's very pragmatic and sensible that we have that additional half an hour, but it doesn't trade to the same thing, unfortunately, as a result of that.
Andre, really good to see you. It's obviously been a bit of a challenging start to this season. We had the ups and downs of Spain. What were the lessons that you learned from that race?
Well, definitely the season so far has told us that we need to keep working hard on improving the car. That's what we've been doing. We saw relatively early that this car wouldn't have taken us very far in terms of results. So actually we are working on pretty much redesigning aerodynamics and also some of the parts under the bodywork, and they will start seeing the light in Austria and then for the following races. As for Spain, I think directionally what happened there is what we expected, with a Saturday being more performing than on Sunday. We know that our car likes new tires, qualifying condition, is good on warm-up. It was even cold that we like as well, while we struggle a bit with retaining the grip on the tires during the race. So that was directionally what we expected, but the extent was larger than what we expected, with a P3 in qualifying. And in truth, we have to say that some cars that were quicker than us didn't deliver, like there were 2 Mercedes, 1 Ferrari and 1 Red Bull behind us. At the same time in the race, like, the degradation was a bit higher than we anticipated, so we lost some position with Oscar, and it's a bit of a shame that we couldn't see Lando because of the incident in corner 1.
Now, you mentioned the first upgrades will start to see the light in Austria and then the races after at Silverstone. How significant are these upgrades that are coming? Are we talking like B-spec car type upgrades?
Yeah, we can talk about a B-spec because pretty much all the parts in contact with air will be redesigned. So the shape of the car will be different, and we hope to be able to add a few tenths in terms of lap time, which should allow us to be, more solidly a Q3 car, or contend to be in Q3 and consistently score points, while at the moment it's a bit of a hit and miss.
Now, looking a bit further forward, we've talked a little bit about the wind tunnel coming online, the simulator. Are all those projects on schedule, and when are sort of estimated completion dates for those in place?
No, we are actually very pleased with how these projects are progressing. The wind tunnel in a month's time will start being the place where we develop the car for 2024. So that's really good news at McLaren. We have the simulator on the final sprint, the composite facility as well. So I think actually we've been able to maintain the original schedule, and this will be fundamental steps in order to be able to regain the competitiveness that we need.
Dan, when we were chatting right at the beginning of the season, you were saying that you'd made a lot of changes to the car. I think it was 99% different, and you just really wanted a good baseline. Now we've had 7 races. Is that what you ended up with? And have you seen that race on, race on, you've been able to build up in the way that you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. At the beginning of the season, we saw that we did have a very, very good baseline. The drivers have always been quite complimentary about the behaviour of the car, that it's predictable and stable. And then, our job is really to make sure we don't make a mess of that at the same time as improving the performance. We've been sort of steadily improving the performance of the car through the season. There are some tracks that we've had better performances than others. So one of the jobs for us as a technical team is to try to make sure that we expand that envelope, the operating envelope of the car, make sure there are no kind of bad circuits for us. But that's been our target, as well as just sort of trying to close the gap to Red Bull as much as anything.
And great to see some upgrades on the car this weekend. It looks like the biggest package that you've introduced all season long. How significant is the data telling you back at the factory that it is?
Well, it's certainly physically the biggest part that we've put on the car. It's enormous. But anytime you do a change to the floor, it's a pretty sizable update. But we've seen that the floors and engine covers have been a sort of hot area of development. So it's something that we've been working on for a while. We've sort of developed our previous concept, which is why we've ended up bringing this here. Yes, it is a good step forward as far as the data is concerned. We'll have to see exactly what that translates to in terms of lap time.
And what can we see from the rest of the season in terms of your development strategy going forward? You've got Mercedes attacking, and lots of teams bringing packages in week in, week out. What's your kind of strategy?
Well, strategy is just to get as much performance on the car as quickly as possible. I mean, it's fantastic to be fighting with Mercedes and Ferrari. That's a really great situation to be in for us. I always said that I think producing a good car at the start of the season was one part of the puzzle. We also have to make it is a development race. So we have to make sure that we as a team are capable of fighting in that development race. So it's been a great test for the team. So far, I think the outcome has been good, but we need to keep pushing. We need to keep those updates coming to the car as far into the season as we can do.
And we've seen you've moved into your new factory. I remember seeing you at the start of the season, you in those cabins.
Yeah.
How important is that in just the way you work, all the way up, top down, to just improving the car performance of the car?
I mean, honestly, it's absolutely the atmosphere in the factory now is electric. We have this new technology campus, which is in different stages of development. We're in the first stage of that now, is us moving into the technical offices and then the manufacturing areas, and then we've got a new wind tunnel coming online towards the end of next year. So it is part of a big journey for us, but honestly, people who've been in the team for years are so excited about this as much as I am. That we have a huge new office. The sort of collaboration potential for that kind of thing is enormous. And now we're out of our sort of porter cabins and an old factory into a brand new state-of-the-art factory. It's incredible.
And super important with Honda coming on board in a few years' time, because there's going to be things you're going to have to do yourself as well, gearbox, rear suspension. You're going to have to do the whole package now, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. I mean, there are several areas where we need to increase our capability. We are. It's not just the facilities themselves, but also the sort of technical capabilities. So we're looking to improve in a lot of areas. But yeah, as I said, it's a journey for the team. It's a really exciting journey, and we've literally just taken the first steps, really.
Great stuff. Have fun. Thank
you.
you.
Cheers.
Yeah, it's been a great start to the season for you guys. The cars look sharp from a technical perspective as well. Are you pleased with kind of the way that the evolution of the car's gone, and how aggressive do you think you're going to be with development for the rest of the season?
Yes, I think I'm pleased with the team for sure. The team are doing a fantastic job to try to maximize the penalty we have in terms of number of runs we have. But yeah, I'm pleased with the development we are doing and how we plan to do it and to optimize the car.
Can we expect to see some new bits coming at every race going forward from here? Can we expect to see maybe bigger packages? How does the development plan look?
I think you have two aspects for sure. You have the aspect of developing the car. We have a new front wing here that we are testing. And after we have, for sure it will reduce, the development of the car will reduce during the season because we have to use our capability for next year. But yeah, we will have some new updates during the next few races. But it's for sure we will not be able to update every race.
And when you've gone and won the first 7 races, does it make those decisions about how to move to more resources to next year and kind of just make all those strategic decisions a little bit easier?
It's the main aspect to then when you increase the gap like that is not to make the decision easier. It's more that you are in panic mode. Then you are sure that you are set up. You make stuff based on data and based on what is the most important for the team. And after how we move the people on the next year car and this year car, I think it doesn't change the fact that the way we do, because the rules should not change for next year. Then what we learn this year is important for next year.
Yeah, okay. And you mentioned the people as well. Rob Marshall's obviously going to be leaving. When you lose a person who's been at the team for that long, how does that affect the way that the technical department works?
It's affecting quite a lot, especially for the concept of the car, that he was his main area at the last few years. It's a big change for the team and big loss. But you cannot stop people moving because otherwise, is how it is. And after, he's also giving some chance to the young one that they have a big shoes to fit.
So is that kind of what the process? Then you want to really promote from within?
Yes, for sure. It's important to show we have a massive talent inside the team that is important to promote them. It's difficult in our days now because with the budget cap, you cannot move, you cannot create more costs and more costs and more costs. But it's important that the people creating the success, that is the young people in the team, are promoted inside the team.
Great stuff, Pierre. Thank you as ever.
Thank you.